Hey everyone, welcome to Pathetically Unfiltered. My name is marabelleblue. I am your host on this episode. This is a news and reaction segment, and this episode will be a little bit different. We're going to discuss some Karens who put their asses out there and now are paying the price. Well, at least one that I know of. I don't know about the other one. I did not see Tizzy put her out there. I'm going to share this video, but before I go ahead and do that, if you are new here, welcome to this channel. I really appreciate your support. I talk a little bit about news and all of the weird things that are going on in this world. And if you are not new, welcome back. Be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and it would be great if you can go ahead and support my channel. Here we are. We have the Cashapp and the Venmo, and this is a great way to support the show. I got a really nice donation recently, so shout out to that person who donated to my channel. Before we get started, I just also want to plug my Surfbox store. The candles are now available online, and they do come with a package of sage. I added something onto the store just to give everybody their money's worth. This is a great way to connect, meditate. It's really super important, especially with everything that has been going on. And in addition to the families who lost their lives on these crashes recently, my condolences to all of you. So let's get started with this episode. It's no surprise that we have a lot of these Karens who come in to the internet. I don't know what they were doing before, but it just seems that they have no issues whatsoever showing their ass and thinking that whatever it is that they're saying online is totally okay. Their jobs will not be disrupted at all. I don't know what happened to TikTok when it came back. It's very, very strange. Sometimes I will see things that is not the norm for me on my timeline. I have two different accounts, and unfortunately on both of them I see a lot of political stuff than I do because the accounts are so different. I would think that I would see more politics on one than the other. Considering everything that has been going on recently, it's very important for all of us to stay informed. And TikTok has been that application where people go to get their news. We're not getting viable news from these mainstream medias because they're basically just sugarcoating all of the news that we are getting. In order for us to stay informed, we have to really dig deep and go on the inside of people who have the inside information, who are giving us the news and everything that's been going on. So I found it very strange when I came across this particular woman. I'm going to go ahead and share this video with you on the things that she was saying. And at first I thought it was satire. I still don't believe it is, but I'm going to put it out there and let you decide.
Y'all bunch of entitled little crybabies need to go take a seat. What in the world? Y'all living in a microwave society? Y'all really think that that's how this happens? He's been in there, what, 9 days now? What did you expect? That he was going to be able to undo all the damage and all the trash that was done over these last 4 years? In 9 days? Just hold on, Karen. Just sit right on down, okay? I mean, this is ridiculous that y'all crybabies out there can't even stop crybabying it up, okay? I'm not gonna pay for you. He ain't gonna pay for you, and she ain't gonna pay for you. You gotta get out there and work to support yourself, your own family, your own self, okay? The government ain't supposed to take care of you. You ain't supposed to get a free pass just on the color of your skin. You ain't supposed to get a free pass just because of your sex, okay? And by the way, there's only two. Thank the Lord for common sense back up in the place, y'all. Have a great day.
What the fuck is this bitch talking about? Like, seriously, what is she talking about? Common sense. And then I wrote a comment and I blocked her because I don't ever want to see trash like that again. How are you talking common sense when you just spewed shit that is not common sense? What I don't understand about a lot of these people, and this is what I'm starting to notice. Before I get into that, let me just say this. what I am noticing about a lot of these people is that they don't have any common sense. They are running on hate. They're spewing this negativity. I don't know who she's talking about crying. The fact of the matter is, we are spreading the correct information, the information of what is going out there. An accident happened, a crash happened that should not have happened. And we have convict Crump standing up there in a podium, probably stayed on script for 1 minute until he went off script and started spewing blame. Because why would a narcissist take any responsibility for their actions? That's not what a narcissist does. I lived with a narcissist for more than a year. It was probably the most horrible part of my life. And I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine. It took a long time to recover from that. When you live with a narcissist who sits there and gaslights everything that they are telling you, and you start to believe the lies, you don't want to say anything out loud to anyone about these experiences and how embarrassing it is that you fell for a con. And I didn't want to tell anybody that, because my presentation of me and who I am, I'm confident, I'm happy, I'm proud of myself, of all the accomplishments that I have done. And then all of a sudden, I meet this skinny little old man. That's the way I see him now. I didn't see him like that back then, but that's the reality of it, telling me lie after lie after lie and making me feel bad about who I became as a woman, as a person. And then you have Miss Karen over here talking about Karens when she's on the front of the line of Karens, making all of these claims. I'm sorry. In 9 days, him and Ilanka Muck have caused the only utter chaos. And for you to insinuate that everybody has to get out and work, you don't think that people are getting up and working? Do you think that it's only your skin tone that's working to support the rest of us? It doesn't work like that. No, lady, you are wrong. And you're sitting there making these videos upset because you expect a convict, a felon. He has been convicted, voted back into the White House, making our country look like a clown ass, imposing all of these tariffs. And you think that, oh, this is a jumping off point for negotiations. This is not Clueless. We are not Cher. And I'm talking about Cher, the character in the movie Clueless, in case you never watched that movie. You clearly, ma'am, are clueless. You insinuated things that are not real. And for you to sit there in your car thinking, oh, we're not here to support you. We are not here to support you. How about that? How about that? You are a disgusting human being, is what you are. So maybe you should sit back and think about what you are going to say before you put it on a video for the whole world to see and share, because I'm sure that your video was shared many of times and saved, probably not liked all that much, and whoever liked it is just on the same sick path as you are. Speaking of sick paths, Tizzy talks about a girl. Now, I'm not really going on Instagram that much. And here's the funny thing about these whole algorithm things. On Instagram, I see Tizzy a lot. On TikTok, I don't see him all that much. But what is funny is that if I go on Instagram and see him, and then I go on TikTok, somehow he comes up. But if I'm on TikTok all day long and I'm scrolling, there is a very good possibility that I will not see his content unless I'm looking for him specifically. And there are a lot of people on TikTok that are really putting in the work in sharing and keeping everyone updated. So there was a girl on TikTok who expressed her elativeness, if there's such a word, elation, about people getting deported. Let's look and see what she said.
A little bit of an update. Everybody remembers old Vanishing Finger hot take melody from yesterday, right? I don't give two shits that families are being separated if somebody's getting deported. I actually find it hilarious. It gives me a great deal of comfort. I'm actually fucking laughing at you that you're sitting there crying for attention. Okay. I find you guys to be subhumans.
Every time I watch it, she just gets more and more charming. A lot of people had a problem with what Melody had to say. And not just like libs or Dems either. I saw people who identify as conservative who really didn't appreciate it. A lot of people asking things like, find her employer, etc. You may have noticed in my original video that I accidentally called her April instead of Melody. It's just because Melody is her bullshit online persona. Her name is April Martinson, and as you can see from her LinkedIn, it said that she works at Bidadoo Incorporated. She did work there. She no longer works there, and I think we should take a moment to appreciate the statement that her former employer issued. They said, at Bidadoo, we hold ourselves to the highest standards of professionalism. We understand that the personal views expressed that surfaced through an online alias of an individual's social media posts were deeply offensive. We can assure you that these personal views do not reflect the thoughts or values we strive to uphold as a company. We have taken decisive action. The incident has been reported to police and the FBI to monitor and deal with any potential risks or threats. The person involved has been contacted and is no longer with Bidadoo. Our team thanks you for understanding and for your continued support. First of all, kudos to this company for taking it seriously and taking action. Second of all, this comes back to the people who like to cry about First Amendment. But her First Amendment right, when you don't understand what that means, no one's violating her First Amendment rights. Her First Amendment rights say she can say what she wants, and the government doesn't come and lock her up for it. That does not mean there are not consequences for her actions. And in this case, her words have an impact on her former employer as well. I was told through someone that is associated or works there that they had to have a police presence at their offices in Seattle today, that they're allowing employees to work from home because of the threats and the fear of retaliation from people. Also, this company reached out to me because apparently some people thought that she worked there, and they wanted to make it very clear that she does not and has not ever worked for them. But more importantly, they wanted to state, even with that they're disgusted by what she had to say, and they condemn it in the strictest possible sense. Now, obviously, retaliating against a business makes no sense, and violence begets violence. Like, never, even for her, no one should be trying to physically harm her. But her saying those things in the way she said them, in the climate we currently live in, I can't imagine she expected that to go well for herself. And based on the fact she's had multiple accounts and she is a known shit poster, this is like what she lives for. And it finally, her fuck around finally is finding out. And like I said, well deserved. So if I hear anything further, I'll let you know. But in the meantime, don't mess with her former employer. They did the right thing.
Would I be wrong in saying I take great pleasure in her getting fired? I think it's actually funny. I mean, such trash. A while back, probably even in my last video, I was talking about the inception of Facebook and how Facebook people allowed employers to look up candidates' information online just to see what they were doing, to see if that person matched their, what is that word I'm looking for? Their ethics. And part of me felt, well, that is an invasion of privacy, because if you told your employer, hey, I'm sober, I don't drink, I haven't drank in 33 and a half years, which is true, but I'm just using myself as an example. And then they see a picture of me in a bar holding a glass of soda. Then that employer could say, wow, well, she lied to us because she is standing there in a bar, and then probably assuming that the glass of soda could have rum in it, because there is a thing called rum and coke, and think I am drinking and that I just lied. And now I may not get a job because now I look like a liar. So in that regard, yes, it is an invasion. Nobody should care what I do on the weekends if I'm hanging out with friends, if I'm hanging out in a bar. There have been many events that have been held in bars, even the type of bars where there's food. And I have been to those events. It doesn't mean that I'm subjecting myself to drinking. I am there at an event. End of story. I don't need to explain to anybody what type of event it was and why I had to attend that event. But when you blatantly make a video talking about how you're taking great pleasure in deportations and people crying and families separated, you deserve to be fired. You are not the representative of the values of that company. You don't represent that. And if that company wants nothing to do with that, they have a right to let you go because you don't represent the values. You don't. And the other part is, where are the critical thinking skills? Both of these women lack critical thinking skills and not saying to themselves, well, gee, if I do this, if I make these videos and I make these statements and put it on my Instagram or put it on your TikTok, what could happen? What is the cause and effect of my actions? Think about it. What happens if I build a row of dominoes and knock the first domino out? What could happen? The dominoes are going to get knocked down, right? And now girlfriend is sitting there with no job because she decided to put her ass out there and say, oh, I take great pleasure in families getting deported and everybody crying. Why? What did they do to you? The other day I was on a live. I was on Santana's live. And Santana, he has lives where he does sparring with Santana. And he only has people who voted for Trump. And he'll ask them a question. The question of the week has been, which one was better, 1933 Germany or 2025 in the United States? And these dumbasses actually answer that 2025 is better. Where is the critical thinking? Why would you even answer that question? The answer should be neither. And here are people answering an insane question that is not even a good answer. Another person that I've been also watching, I mean, I love this guy, Zeus. He has lives that he does Monday through Friday in the morning, and I am up waiting patiently. He had this Puerto Rican guy on. Quite disturbing when a Puerto Rican man is voting against his best interest. We are Puerto Rican. We are Americans. One thing he said that was disturbing. One, that he voted for convict Trump. Now, the other thing he goes on to say is that he married a black woman, so he understands black culture. Sweetie, that doesn't make you black. When you marry a black person, that does not make you black by osmosis. You're still a Puerto Rican man. But then he goes on to tell Zeus, oh, well, I did so much for your people. I gave your people money. Really? Really? How come you're not in the news? How come you're not somebody on the New York Times People of the Year cover? How could you be so insulting? And you think that you can say that because you married a black woman and he's like, "Oh yeah, I live in a co-op." What, Co-op City? Is that where you live? Co-op City? Please. Please. And I'm just assuming here, like, I'm not saying that the dude lives in Co-op City, but there are people who are coming out of the side of their face, saying things without thought, thinking that they will not acquire consequences behind sharing those thoughts. Going back to Santana's live, I completely forgot because I jumped over to Zeus's live. Santana also has lives where he has friendlies come up and people share their thoughts. And there was somebody there who was a trans person. They were very emotional. And they said to a person that was on the panel, who was the opposite of being a friendly, so to speak, because they had voted for convict Trump. The trans person asked, why do you hate us so much? What did we do to you that you hate us? And the other person can only respond, well, we don't want that lifestyle shoved down our throats. Who was shoving it down your throat? Nobody. I have met some of the greatest trans people ever. Beautiful to the core. I'm not thinking about what they're doing in their bedroom. What they do in their bedroom is their business. I'm here in my house. Everything that's going on out there doesn't affect me. If I turn on the television and there is something that I don't like, you know what I do? I change the channel. Isn't that something? Why should I sit there and complain about what's on the television when I can actually change the channel? You know, back in the 80s, there were a whole bunch of different radio stations, right? You would change the dial in the hopes that you would hear your favorite song. Do you know what would happen when they would play a song that I didn't like? You guessed it, I would change the dial and listen to a different radio station that maybe had a song I did like. It's so fucking simple. It's really not that hard. And we have come to a place in this world where the hatred is so deep for other people who are just trying to live as we are. Today I went out. I was talking to my friend. Michael and we had a very, very deep conversation. I told him, I want you to come onto the show, even if he doesn't want to show his face. The conversation that we had was so deep. I was thinking we need to do an episode together just so that he could share his thoughts on the perceptions that people put out there in everything that's going on. I went out earlier, and as I'm talking on the phone, I'm looking for something to put my birth certificate, my passport, even my voter's card. I'm not even playing in my bag, and that it doesn't get destroyed in the process. Just trying to find like an envelope that I could put it in and my papers are protected. Why am I doing that? I am an American citizen born in New York City. And now, because of dumbasses like this Puerto Rican guy who thinks that Trump is he's just going to do these great things when he hasn't. And I'm sorry, lady, thinking he was just there 9 days. He has to undo. Right. He's undoing and making everything a mess. And there's going to come a point where you're going to need those services. And who is going to help you? Because now you put your face all over the internet. If you put a GoFundMe page, you better hope that you have friends that are going to help you, that they have money to help you. I won't help you. It has become like The Walking Dead. If anybody has ever watched The Walking Dead, everybody was set up in a community and you trusted the community that you were with. You were not allowed to bring outsiders into your community because you had no idea who they were aligned with and if they were trying to take over your community. This is what we have become, like The Walking Dead. And people do not know who to trust. I cannot turn around and safely look at a Latina brother or sister and think we're thinking the same way. We are both aligned in our values, and then they're just in the total opposite direction because they think that a thieving con is going to do something for them. And I said something before in one of my TikTok videos. It's almost as if people get stuck in this idea that a rich person is just going to hand over money to them. What was in the news earlier? Ilanka Muck trying to get into the Social Security site. Why is this man even in the White House? I don't know. He should be in jail. That's where he should be. The man is a fucking thief. There is nothing good that could come out of this administration. As a matter of fact, nothing good is coming out of it now. And I'm fortunate in getting to know people who are building up communities, building up information. A lot of the times it's very overwhelming. It's a lot to take in. And I know that people are feeling overwhelmed. I know that. And I just want to say, in our struggles, there are people who align with our values. There are people who care about other people and care about this country and everything that's going on. People like these two women, they do not care. They are selfish and they only care about themselves. And here's the thing, when the shit hits the fan, you will not be exempt. There is no exemption for you. And this is where people get trapped. They get trapped in their brain. They think, oh, it's not going to happen to me. And what did I say a couple of videos ago? I had a sponsor. She said, everybody gets a turn. I remember when she first said that, I was like, well, wait, whoa. What do you mean everybody gets a turn? Not me. Not me. I'm good. I'm good. Not me. Oh, I got my turn all right. I sure did. Because I was sitting there on my high chair and that shit came down real fast, humbled immediately. I'm going to end with this because this is not really a news reaction because I really didn't talk about like news source or whatever. I have a friend who works in the healthcare industry and she was telling me about a phone call that she got the other day. The woman was talking on the phone about how she does not like convict Trump. And immediately as she was talking to her, she thought to herself that this would be the kind of person, see where her mind went, that would vote for a convict. And it was the complete opposite of what she thought. And as she was listening to this woman, she said, the one thing, you don't take the money with you to heaven, and you were not born with a label. And this is the problem. I get very offended when people refer to me as a liberal or a left. No, I am a person. I am a woman. I am an American. I live here. I was born here. I have empathy for my fellow man. I like learning about history. How did we get here? How can we be better as a society? And when I'm listening to men who get on these lives on TikTok, the one question they are asked, why did you vote for Trump? The first thing that comes out of their mouth, oh, he's going to be deporting illegals. Oh, he's going to drill baby drill. That's all they have. There is no logic whatsoever. Young guys who probably still don't know how to clean their ass properly, and they think this man is going to do great and wonderful things. And he has never, not once, done anything wonderful. Not at all. Not in his whole life has he done anything wonderful. The other thing that I noticed is that a lot of these guys, what convict Trump has done, and even Ilanka, is give them permission to deflect, to put the blame on others and not take a look at themselves. One of the things that I was having a conversation with Mike, I said, it's hard to look at yourself. It's hard and it hurts when there's an event going on in your life, like the way I shared about what happened with the narcissist. The disaster. That's what I call him. Shit show. He was a disaster. And I'll link the video that I talked about it on my coaching channel. I didn't want to talk about how I was conned and fooled. I was embarrassed and I was ashamed at what happened because I didn't want people saying, but you knew better. I knew that I knew better. And in my mind, I believed maybe it was all in my head. Maybe I should just give him a chance because I'm not going to get anything better. The love bombing was astounding and I believed it. And somehow through therapy, through talking to people, through sharing my story, I realized that I was going to be okay and that I learned this lesson and I don't ever have to do it again and I can share my story and let people know. But what is frightening to hear these men discuss their anger towards other people who did nothing to them, conned into believing that they are going to have better lives when these illegal immigrants are gone. Meanwhile, they are the same people who don't want to do these jobs. This woman talking about common sense and people, you have to get up and work. Right. That's right. Your people, they got to get up and work because, they're sitting there making all these excuses about other people. Think before you speak, because if you don't, your own mouth and your own actions are going to continue getting you in trouble until you finally decide to look inward. And you know what? While I have hope for people who want to make a real change and recognize there are people that are so deep into this nonsense, they're probably never going to get out of it. So with all that being said, this is Marabelle Blue signing off. I would like to hear and read your comments down below. What do you think is going to happen next? And how can we be better as a society? And always remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other. Most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.